Hello everybody, Michael the Librarian of Magic here, finding and cataloging the magical and pointing you to it. Today is October the 9th, and I'm back with another Halloween drawing, another Halloween treat for you today. Same disclaimer as usual applies. Check my first video in this series if you want to know more about that. Without further ado, today's drawing treat. The card soldiers from Alice in Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts guards, or henchmen, or whatever you want to say. This drawing came out okay. I added the hedge in the background. That's mine. The actual image itself is a still from the film that I decided to just try to duplicate. Mostly I wanted to try this one out just as a drawing exercise, the challenge of the symmetry and everything, to see if I could do that, and I'm relatively happy with how that came out. It's not too bad. This is obviously from the film Alice in Wonderland from 1951, based on the novel by Lewis Carroll, and the card soldiers do appear in the novel. They are characters from the novel. In the novel, the different suits represent different like roles or classes for the cards. So the spades were gardeners, the clubs were guards or soldiers, the diamonds were courtiers, and the hearts were members of the royal family. So technically here, in the Disney drawing, if they were being really true to Lewis Carroll's vision, hearts would never be guards or soldiers. These would probably be spades instead of hearts. But that's okay. It's not really that big of a deal, but that's just a little tidbit about it. The guards here were, I tried to find information about voicing, and the nearest I could tell was that any voices or vocalizations for some of the card guards or card soldiers in the film were made by a person named Don Barclay, who was a caricature artist and also an actor, and did a lot of voicing roles for Disney. He was used for hundreds of different applications over the years, very small things. He was kind of considered a bit of a good luck charm by Walt Disney, and he's probably best known by Disney fans as Admiral Boom's first mate, Mr. Binnacle, in Mary Poppins, the Navy neighbor's first mate. That was Don Barclay, and supposedly he voiced or did some vocalizations for some of these card soldiers. The movie, when it came out in the 50s, didn't fare so well critically. It did pretty well financially, actually, but it sort of had a mixed to negative critical reception, and this is one of the movies that Walt always sort of felt was a failure, and some of the other artists, like Ward Kimball, also kind of felt like it didn't completely work the way it was supposed to. In some interviews, they were quoted as saying they believed that maybe it was sort of a too many cooks problem, that there were just too many directors and too many competing visions. But this movie actually found its audience, even critically, after a certain amount of time, and it sort of found its fans and won over audiences enough to become a classic. It was widely seen. It wasn't exactly panned. It sort of resurged in the early 70s. It sort of got attached. A few Disney movies that were a little bit more psychedelic, like The Three Caballeros and Fantasia and Alice in Wonderland, sort of reemerged as what were called head films at the time, which basically were sort of symbols or emblematic of the drug culture. And people were, taking psychedelic drugs and watching these films and expanding their minds and all that stuff. And Disney sort of resisted the connection to that for a really long time, and never, a lot of these movies, so back in the days before home video, which really didn't come about until the very late 70s, early 80s, there was no, we're going to release this on home video and then it'll find its audience, or there's, that sort of thing. With Disney movies, they would re-release them in to theaters, and this was one that they just never really re-released for a long time because they were not super duper proud of it, and they also primarily they wanted to avoid the connections to the drug culture. And then in 1974, it was being seen widely on college campuses and everything like that, and they decided it was worth the financials to give it an actual re-release, and instead of resisting the cultural appeal so hard, they ever so slightly leaned into the psychedelic nature of the film. And after that re-release was marketed to that way, and subsequent re-releases, then it really started making lots of money, and it really found its audience, and also those extra re-releases gave it a wider audience, and it found appreciation far beyond the drug culture and far beyond the underground cult scene, which this movie is widely hailed as being one of the classics and not just a head movie anymore. I mean, it is a psychedelic movie to be sure, but the book is a psychedelic novel in so many ways, and the impression of it is not, it's found its wider audience, I guess, is my overall point. So, um, it overall was successful. Disney had toyed with doing a Alice in Wonderland for a really long time, even before Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It was a story that he had grown up with, and it was something that he thought about for a long time, acquiring rights to it and all kinds of other stuff like that. So much so that in 1936 there was a Mickey Mouse short called Through the Mirror, which is essentially Alice in Wonderland with Mickey Mouse. It even features a version of the Card Soldiers in it. It was going to be done sort of in that same year with Snow White. They decided on Snow White as their first feature as opposed to something like Alice in Wonderland because of the script was tighter, and it was better to kind of go with the fairy tale route. Alice in Wonderland, not just even from an animating perspective, but from a writing perspective, is a pretty ambitious adaptation. And then World War II came around, the war years hit, and even though they were going to talk about doing it for maybe even a second or third feature, they really scrapped it because the war effort made things financially tight, and Walt Disney knew this was going to take a lot of money and be a very ambitious project. They revisited it after the war, and they toyed for a long while with maybe making it like a live action animation hybrid, sort of like scenes in Mary Poppins or stuff like that. And Walt Disney sort of came to the realization that this movie was so high concept, so to speak, that there was so much craziness in it that it really needed to be fully animated in order to do it justice. And I think he was completely right about that. Once this movie finally found its audience, even though it's not, a super duper faithful adaptation of Lewis Carroll's novel, I think it's a really good adaptation of Alice in Wonderland in the sense that animation is a really good way to do Alice in Wonderland justice in a way that it's really hard to convey in a live action film, at least until the advent of CGI and all that stuff. And so I think that the animated version really ends up being one of the enduring adaptations of Alice in Wonderland because it's able to convey sort of these aspects of Wonderland in ways that are hard to do otherwise. So I think Walt had a good instinct on this one, and yeah, maybe it doesn't pack the same punch as something like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in terms of getting that big dramatic gravity and a tight, coherent script and all of those critical things that you want. But I think it's still a really good movie and definitely is beloved by many people at this point. So that's just a little bit about Alice in Wonderland, the Card Soldiers. Some of the stuff that I could dig up about these little characters. There's a lot more that go into about the development of the film and the development of these characters and the people that animated it and stuff. But that's just a different video for a different time. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed that. If Alice in Wonderland is one of your favorites, then let me know down below. If you have any relationship or experiences with the movie or thoughts about it, don't hesitate to let me know. Thanks as always for liking and commenting, subscribing to these videos. I hope that you're enjoying it, that it's a nice bright spot in your day. That is really my goal. Join me tomorrow when I have another drawing for you, another Halloween treat. Thanks for following this series, and follow me for the rest of October if you want to see more of these fun drawings. Until the next one, bye-bye.